I'm Catherine Peters. Representative Fleischman, Senator Stillman, and members of the Education Committee. My name is Catherine Peters, and I am a junior at Newtown High School and serve my school on the student government. I'm here to testify in favor of Bill number 1138 that is designed to help foster safe school climates by strengthening and expanding Connecticut's school bullying laws. Earlier this year, our student government discussed in detail the concerns that we had regarding bullying in all schools. We firmly believe that all students should have the absolute right to attend school without the fear of intimidation or experiencing potential physical harm. We authored a memorandum to our state representative, Representative Liddy, who has demonstrated in a very short period of time that he is a true supporter of our community and education in Connecticut. I'm extremely pleased that he took our memorandum and considered our point of view and included our suggestions in some of the amendments that are being addressed in this proposal. The section I am specifically supporting is Section 9 that identifies a staff member as a district-safe school environmental coordinator. This position identifies a single point of contact for the school district parents, families, and friends, and will enable the school community to have an expert as a resource available to them to assist them in dealing with bullying and its prevention. Being sensitive to these most challenging economic times, this suggestion, if implemented, would have a minimal monetary impact on the school districts around the state. It would require some additional responsibilities for this position and additional professional training, but the suggestion is that this role be filled by someone already on staff. While I personally have never been a victim of bullying myself, I have witnessed it and I've seen the negative effects it has had on others who are trying to get an education. It is unfortunate that bullying is everywhere, but through the collective efforts of strong legislation and resources in every school district, I'm confident that we can work together to help all students have the experience in school that they deserve. I appreciate the work of the Education Committee and their thoughtful consideration of this important bill and urge that you support it and move it forward to full legislature for approval. I again want to thank Representative Liddy for listening to us and advocating for this important change.
Thank you very much. Who's next?
My name is Lydia Post, and I am a junior at Newtown High School. I'm here to share my experience with bullying and my favorable opinion for Bill number 1138. My bullying experience started in 7th grade, and I had always had a really close group of friends. Starting spring of early 2007, they began saying things like, "I hate red," "Red is fat," "Red should die," anything along the lines of that. I never really knew what red meant, so I never asked. It was brought to my attention one day that I was red. And when I asked about it and I questioned them about it, they didn't deny it. They just laughed in my face and walked away yelling insults back at me. The following week, they took the bullying to a new level. The bathroom walls were covered in insults and drawings of me. The desks in every room were covered in horrible remarks, often in Sharpies, so they could not be removed. I had lost every single friend I'd ever had, and I did not know why. This may seem like petty middle school drama, but to me, my life seemed to be falling apart because every friend I'd ever had confided in me, who I ever confided in, turned against me. I had a very close relationship to my mother, and I told her everything. She encouraged me to tell a teacher or guidance counselor, and I thought that telling an adult at school would only make the bullying worse. What I didn't realize was that it would have been much more effective that a teacher make them stop instead of trying to make them stop myself. I retaliated in anger, which did not help. In circumstances like these, I realized the best thing to do is to ask help from an adult. Looking back on this, I realized that no person should go through this. It has affected me still to this day. I obtained an insecurity that I still have not gotten over, and it made me realize that I can't trust people as easily as I should have. No student, no teenager should be able to go through that. You don't want the people of your society not being able to trust people like that. You don't want them to not have the security that they should to grow up. But also, I'm glad I went through this because it matured me in a way, and it made me. Not all things happen for a reason, but no matter what, you'll always learn from them. Thanks.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate your willingness to share your experiences and your opinions. Next.
Sure. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Adam Oelberg. I am a sophomore at Newtown High School in Newtown, Connecticut. I am not here to offer any personal stories concerning the harassment of a close friend, nor can I share my own encounters with bullying, as I have been lucky enough to avoid such unpleasant circumstances. However, I am here because a countless amount of students all over the state cannot say the same. On behalf of those 42% of students who claim they have been bullied by means of the internet alone, I, like many others, recognize the threat imposed by bullying, perhaps due to an increase in modern technology, is much greater today than it was several decades ago. In fact, according to recent studies by Yale University, bully victims are between 2 and 9 times more likely to consider suicide than non-victims, an action that kills more than 4,000 teens annually. Not only are the increasing rates of teen suicide due to bullying inconsistent with the values and individual liberties this country promises to protect, but they challenge these young adults and children's fundamental right to safety. Many students view attending their local educational facility as a risk to their basic welfare and emotional health, which might explain why approximately 160,000 students stay home from school every day for fear of being bullied. In reality, however, the rise of cyberbullying has made these victims exposed even within the privacy of their own homes. And when they log onto their computers to read what comments their peers have posted, they are staring at a screen in the dark by themselves. They have no support system. It's understandable how, when teens see an extensive list of malicious remarks as soon as they check their social networking profiles, their vulnerability and emotional insecurity escalate. Hence, it must be a priority that such a support system be encouraged in an environment where the actions of adolescents can be, in most cases, supervised and regulated, as well as in a way that extends past the classroom. Thus, the implementation of more strictly defined statewide requirements with regards to the way bullying is handled in schools should be an imperative step towards providing American youth with the peace of mind and comfort necessary to reach their full potential with respect to both their well-being and performance. In conclusion, we cannot allow the ignorance, insensitivity, and pure hatred of an overwhelming and growing teenage influence to dictate or judge the value of the lives of their peers. A bill such as this might easily be, with both current and preventative solutions in mind, the motivational force that ends this flaw within the schooling systems and communities of Connecticut. I thank you for your time and consideration in addressing this pressing matter.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate all those statistics, too. You've done some research, and they're very important to this discussion, so thank you very much. Go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Mary Hamula. I'm 17 years old, and I'm a junior at Newtown High School. I'm here to offer my support on Bill 1138 and to share my personal story of my experiences with bullying and cyberbullying. My experience started the winter of my sophomore year. I had a tight-knit group of friends that I made from cross-country and track, and I was in a relationship with someone in that group as well. Mid-January, I ended the relationship without telling any of my friends because I didn't think it would be that big of a deal. I was dead wrong. The next day, none of my friends would talk to me. They flat out ignored me and snickered whenever I tried to talk to them. I tried to find out what was wrong, but none of them would tell me. Finally, one of the girls just told me that they flat out did not like me anymore. I tried to talk it out with them, but they would shy away from any confrontation. It only got worse as time went on. I would try to fix things, but they would ignore me and use it as a joke. I found a whole Facebook conversation between two of the girls calling me ugly and selfish. They would even use my name as an adjective, calling each other a Mary when they were pretending to fight. I started getting anywhere between 10 and 40 Formspring questions a day from the people in that group calling me horrible names like whore, slut, fat, emo, loser, and worthless. I received anonymous text messages telling me to kill myself, and I would often come into school to find my locker dial covered in gum. What hurt the most about all this is that they were my friends. They had been there for me, knew my secrets, and I had really trusted them. To have them turn on me like they had made me feel alone and helpless, which is probably what they wanted. And then my ex-boyfriend and the girl who had been hardest on me began to date, and they would grab each other's hands when I walked by and sat right in front of my locker every morning. But looking back, what stands out to me the most is that I let it continue. I said nothing, and I let them get to me from behind their computers and gossip. And then I heard about Phoebe Prince. Phoebe, in case you didn't know her story, was a 15-year-old girl who lived in South Hadley, Massachusetts, and committed suicide in 2010 after being relentlessly bullied by her peers. She was called names and even had an energy drink thrown at her head while walking home from school. 3 of my close friends lived in the town where Phoebe lived, and one of my friends was even a pallbearer at her funeral. This made her story so close to my heart. I felt like I really knew what Phoebe had been going through because I felt that I was going through something so similar. I felt so sad that the world had lost her for such a stupid reason. Hearing about what happened to Phoebe gave me the strength to realize that what was happening to me was not right, and I had to do something about it. Finally, I developed the strength to stand up to the girl who had been meanest to me throughout the year. I pulled her aside in the morning and had a face-to-face confrontation with her all about the things that she had done wrong to me and how it made me feel. She denied everything to my face. That is when I realized how stupid I had been. She had struck fear into me for almost a year, and yet she was being nothing but a coward. This gave me a new strength that I had never had before. After confronting her, the mean behavior nearly stopped. They tried to get to me since I had become sort of their inside joke, but the confrontation had proven to them that I wouldn't deal with it anymore. I had beaten the people that had kept me down for so long, and I proved to myself that if I believed in myself, I could be unstoppable. Being bullied the way that I was gave me new motivation to help other people who may have experiencing the same things. I knew that it was up to me to stop what happened to me and what happened to Phoebe from happening to someone else. I created a program in my school that has evolved into a class that is taught to all freshmen and sophomores in my school that goes off of the statewide program called If It's Mean, Intervene. It teaches high school students to respect each other and to watch what they say. I also hope to institute a program in my school that will educate students on depression and suicide and honor Phoebe. I also am involved in student government, student council, state student council, and junior states of America in my school. I love making a difference in my community, and I tutor children on Sunday afternoons as well. If I hadn't gone through the experience of bullying, I might not be as strong as I am today. However, that certainly does not make what these kids do to me right. Passing this bill will mean that each and every one of you is helping to prevent another innocent teenager from feeling the way that I felt, and it could even mean saving lives. I encourage all of you to vote on behalf of this bill, and I thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Thank you, all of you, for being here today. I want to thank your high school, Newtown High School, for allowing you to be here. At least I hope they know you're here. If not, you're now on TV. They'll find out. But most importantly, thank you for advocating on behalf of kids like you throughout the country who can't, but more importantly here in Connecticut as well. For those of you who've withstood the onslaught of bullying, I congratulate you for turning things around and making something positive out of something that obviously is negative. So thank you very much, and we wish you good luck. And I'm sure you'll be following the bill to make sure that it moves forward and is passed. And feel free to reach out to other elected officials and ask them to support this bill as well. Does anyone have any questions? Representative Liddy, what a surprise that you wanted to ask something. And how nice of you to recognize his good work. So, Representative Liddy, go right ahead. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I also want to recognize their teacher and student government advisor, Larry Saladin, who's standing over there next to the Channel 3 camera. Wave. I just wanted to say how very proud I am of each and every one of the students that are here today. This is not an easy topic to discuss for adults. Never mind students who are in your position who have been bullied, who have seen friends who have been bullied. And I think we need to do a better job at this table as leaders in modeling the behavior that we expect of our students. Whether it be through political campaigns or on TV, we have to do a better job at showing you the best way to behave and to support one another. So I want to say thank you very much for your insight. You all did a great job, and just for the committee's edification, they came to me with this issue. This wasn't something that I initiated. This is something that the students in Newtown High School actually set as a priority for them and for our community, and I think that is extremely admirable, and I very much appreciate your leadership on this topic. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative. Was there anyone down there? Senator Boucher.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. And thank you for being here today. I think you're expressing the sentiments of many students throughout our state. Many of us have students from high schools and junior high that have brought this issue up as well. Some of them have focused on cyberbullying, others of the general topic itself. And one of the questions I have for you, if you wouldn't mind, since you're closest to this issue, for a lot of others, do you feel that this issue has become more prevalent, or has it always been there and now it's becoming brought to light more? It's becoming more public as reports of students hurting themselves have hit the media.
I think that it's always been an issue pretty much forever, and with the technological advances that have happened and cyberbullying becomes such a present issue, I feel like it's been brought more to light, and especially with the death of Phoebe, it kind of hurtled it towards the media. But I think it's something that's always been there. It's just something that now we're choosing to recognize because we see it as such a problem.
Well, you answered my second question. Is it the fact that we now have the social media and technology to such a degree that it's no longer isolated amongst a small group of friends, but can spread virally throughout the school and sometimes outside of your school system as well? And also, do you find that there is a certain characteristic, the type of student that is the bullier? In other words, are there certain characteristics that always seem to be prevalent in this? And is there a lot of copycatting that occurs with, say, one person leading the pack, so to speak, and others joining on?
I think that sort of leading the pack mentality, that definitely happens, especially with my personal story. It was one girl who felt so strongly and then turned everyone else into her point of view. But I don't think there's really certain characteristics. I think in any given situation, it can be someone different. I think stereotypically, I suppose, it's the more popular person or the leader of a group who kind of sets the mentality for everyone else. But I think in any situation, it can be anyone.
Well, I really commend you for standing up to it and confronting it as strongly as you did. It's really hard to do the younger you are. We actually sign up for and volunteer to be the targets of bullying, oftentimes from groups that really don't agree with a position we might take. But at your age, it is purely a situation where there's a lot of innocent young people that are being the target, and how you learn to deal with that, it either can strengthen you, and as you've shown, it can destroy individuals. And it's unfortunate that we have to raise this to this degree, that these issues cannot be taken care of closer to home, and that there's a lot of good modeling that takes place closest in the family so that this sort of thing doesn't get out of hand. So thank you very much for bringing it here. We hopefully will have total bipartisan support to bring something forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Hovey?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I happen to be part of the representation for Newtown, and I think my question is for Lydia. Lydia, one of the things that I've kind of consistently been told about Newtown schools is that they really pride themselves on their respect for diversity and differences. And in fact, my own stepdaughter went to Newtown High School. She's now off in college, but I was always impressed with her friendships and kind of the way they treated each other. And so I'm really kind of distressed about your situation and all of your situations. But I know as an adult, we always are kind of walking the line around how much involvement should we impose, and does it help or does it make it worse? And so from your perspective, I want to know, what do you believe the adult responsibility is in helping alleviate this issue?
I think it's the adult's responsibility to wait till this person who's being bullied, the victim, wait till they're ready to come to you. Because I mean, if you try and force your help upon them, it's going to make them pull away, and that might cause them to retaliate in a different way. And so I think you should support them as much as you can without exactly forcing your help upon them. And if that person is ready, they will accept your help. And I guess it depends on the person whether or not they are willing to accept your help.
So what about that that young person who is very vulnerable, and in being so vulnerable just doesn't have the ability or any of the kind of, I mean, obviously you four have at some level some, fortitude, or you wouldn't be up here speaking in front of this committee. I mean, part of that is feeling empowered to tell your story, and there's a strength that goes with that. But there are some young people who are so vulnerable that I wonder, even if they go to an adult and the adult kind of props them up and gives them, some ways of managing the situation, I wonder what we do for that young person that is not able to find any kind of inner strength to defend themselves, to move through the situation in a positive manner, because I do believe those are our young people who really take it to that next step that we're all so concerned about.
I think it's the responsibility of adults to instill that confidence and strength within a child from a very young age, because if they don't feel that from a very young age, then they won't take it with them as they grow older. As I said before, I have a really strong relationship with my parents, and they always taught me to be the most confident person I can be, and that really helped me get through this instead of retaliating in ways that others have. So I think it's the responsibility of adults and teachers and people like that to tell kids from a very young age that no matter what happens, you can get through it. You just be the most confident person you can be.
Thank you, and thank you all for coming today, but it really does drive home in your comments that this is not just a school issue. This is a school community issue, and we need to be educating everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Hovey. Anyone else? Representative Cucaruta. Did I mess up your? It was okay. Good.
You said it perfectly. Thank you, Madam Chairman. I want to thank you also today for very brave testimony. I think we all feel that you're representing all the high schools in Connecticut. My question to you, and really to piggyback on what was just said, we've talked about what schools could do and what this bill could do even more about bullying. And you've talked about a program that you've started, which is wonderful. What about your community? How is your community addressing this? And if they're not, what do you think your community outside of school could be doing? Do you have any suggestions, or is Newtown outside of school addressing this in any way?
Well, from what I've seen, most of the anti-bullying programs that we have in our school is usually started up by a student. I haven't really seen anything from the teachers, from the staff, and from parents. It's usually derived from a person who has been bullied, and they do not want to see that happen to them, or to any other person. So, inside our community, we do have programs where kids get to know each other, get together, form friendships. But when it comes to bullying and trying to prevent that, I haven't really seen anything be created by anyone but the students.
Do you have a youth service board? I mean, are they addressing this outside of school? Is there anything like that in your town?
I have not seen anything
Okay.
like that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Davis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just kind of want to follow up in that area. I know my wife is a health and physical education teacher in another school system. As a matter of fact, she taught for 6 months up at Newtown in the 1980s, but that's a different story. She does have, as part of her curriculum, in part of their health class, a curriculum on bullying. Is that not taught in your classes in school?
In the health classes, it is taught, I believe, freshman year, and our guidance department goes around and gives presentations to guidance classes that we have we have 10 of them a year, each grade level besides seniors, and there are certain groups. There was a group specifically about cyberbullying that did come into guidance classes and discuss issues with cyberbullying and the new problems that are caused due to technology.
All right. Now I want to take this back just a little bit further. Do you recall, or are you aware of when our younger students are first taught about bullying or how they should respond? I know you said you have a very good relationship with your parent, but we now have, or should have in our schools, programs that work with even our elementary school kids on how to deal with bullying, or even to be able to identify bullying. Are you aware of that, if it happens, or should we be doing more? Thank you, ma'am.
I know that I don't know about the elementary schools, but I know that in our intermediate schools, my little sister is there, and there is a program that they have. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but it teaches tolerance towards people of different cultures, and it teaches not to bully based on those types of things. And I think this is the first or second year it's been in effect, so it's relatively new.
Okay, so we're starting to do a better job. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative. Any other questions? Representative Lavielle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you all very much for being here today. It's always very good to hear from the people who are the most concerned by bills that we're discussing. You've gone into this a lot, so forgive me for just asking a kind of all-encompassing question like this. But what would you really like to see done, just in terms of action? If you could say, please, make this happen, what would it be?
Well, I can't really speak for all four of us, but I know specifically for me, and I'm sure they feel this way as well, definitely to have these staff educated better than they are, I guess, on what they need to do if they see bullying, on what they need to do if they think it's happening in the school specifically, because I know that a lot of times they don't know exactly what to do, or it's not brought to their attention and they're not exactly sure. And I don't really know how this would work in a way to see cyberbullying other than it being reported, because a lot of times the victims of cyberbullying aren't strong enough or they're too scared to report it. And that's where a lot of the problem lies, is we don't know that it happens because it's online and it's not in the schools and it's not brought to the attention of the administrators or the people in the schools, and that's where the problem really lies. So something needs to be done about that as well.
Would the other students like to answer the question? If you don't mind, Representative, if I jump in and ask them that.
Thank you very much.
They're obviously not shy, so.
I think for me the biggest issue is that students who are bullies, I believe now they get in-school suspension, and so they do not leave school. Say, if I was bullied, the person who was bullying me would still be in school with me. That does not really give me a sense of comfort or security in that I still have to see them at school, and if they get in-school suspension for 5 days, that's all they get, maybe like a talking to. But what other preventions can we do to discourage people from bullying? And because I think that's we were talking about, we talk to the victim but not so much the bully, and I think that definitely needs to be done.
Thank you. Anyone else? Excuse me, Madam Chair, I'm superseding your
That's okay. We don't mean to put you on the spot, so don't.
Well,
don't force
no,
them.
and I didn't mean to do that either. But I would like to tell you that your remarks sound conspicuously like thoughts that we hear in the real world. So the amount of thought that you're giving to this, I can tell you, certainly prepares you for what you're going to encounter as well when you leave school. And I think that's a great achievement on your part. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Mike Cattell,
Yeah,
be
just
followed
a-
by Senator McKinney.
Quick question here. Did you or did your parents, and this is for any one of you, go to the, like you say, bring this matter to the attention of the administrators in your school right away? Because I heard you say that you kept it to yourself. You didn't talk to people, but who did bring it to the attention of the administrators right away? Right away.
Sorry. I'm a little confused.
When did you bring this matter to the attention of your school administrators, if at all? Because I heard you say you didn't bring it to the attention of anyone.
Not right away from my story. I didn't, because I wasn't really aware that what was happening to me was bullying, because I was so unaware of what it was and what constitutes as it. But after I realized what was going on, I told my parents about it, and they were going to bring it to the attention of administrators, but a close friend of mine actually emailed one of our vice principals and let him know what was going on, and he received an email back, but no other punishment was really entailed. So.
What was that again? No punishment was followed from that?
None of the people who ever bullied me were ever punished at all in my school district, and it was brought to the attention of one of my vice principals and some of my teachers as well.
Well, that seems to be gets to be one of the problems here. Everybody seems to be walking away from this problem who have responsibilities to correct the situation. You're not going to resolve this problem if the school administrators throughout this state aren't going to comply with the current law and aren't going to follow up on it. So, Madam Chair, there's a real problem with a lack of accountability on the people who are to be held accountable under the current law. But what is also disturbing is, even beyond that, is the fact that while you were being bullied, all of you, many people knew you were being bullied, and nobody wanted to, quote, get involved. All your peers. How many of your peers stepped in and said, you know, we shouldn't be doing this? I mean, nobody wanted to get involved. Well, you want to speak to that a moment?
I feel like the point that's trying to be addressed by comments like this is that the current policies that are used to enforce bullying, like legislation, and the way that bullying should be treated in schools are not being followed through completely, and thus they shouldn't be sort of continue to be like restricted in this way. However, I do feel as though one of the main reasons why it's like this, and a lot of the attention about these bullying cases aren't really expanded to the level that they should be or brought to the attention of people that they should be, is because students, teachers, administrators alike have trouble recognizing the problem of bullying. When people feel these mean comments and things like this, they attribute bullying to, and although this is even worse case, people committing suicide over comments on the internet, but even though that is a big problem and that will be addressed in this bill, I'm pretty sure, there are a lot of people who are bullied in everyday lives that don't directly go to this extent, but they don't recognize that even though they aren't going to this extreme, they are still being bullied. And I feel like with legislation like this that makes bullying laws more strict and more defined, that one of the side effects of legislation like this would be that people would be more educated about bullying, and that they would be able to recognize bullying, and so more action, more proaction rather than reaction could be taken in issues like this.
Well, that's fine. But, you know, we can pass all the laws we want, but unless people know right from wrong, all the legislation isn't going to do that much good. I know bullying when I saw it. When I was in high school, I knew when someone was being bullied. I didn't need a piece of legislation to tell me that this kid was being bullied. It's just some common sense here. I think a lot of the problem is people, it's a tough issue. People don't want to get involved. I mean, when I can go think way back to high school, when we had kids who were being bullied, and nobody stepped in, and the teachers knew what was going on, and that's the situation. What you're telling me today is what I experienced many years ago in my high school, and it's a shame that it's still going on the way it is, and it won't be resolved with our legislation unless people step up to the plate and be accountable and help out their fellow students, because that's what it's all about. A lot of these students, they need to step up and support their own students.
Thank you, Representative. I think this bill goes a long way towards resolving some of those issues, because it has opportunities in there so that not only your teachers, but anybody who works in the school will receive some training so that they can recognize this and know what to do. And there's no doubt that there are people who are afraid to step forward. That's certainly not your fault, but certainly your experiences put you in a very different place, so that if you do experience it, you know what to do. Representative Michatel is just expressing some of his frustrations, I think, over the system and all of ours. So, but what's that phrase? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So I think that's somewhat appropriate to this. And I don't mean that as a segue to Senator McKinney, but go. Senator, would you like to, you're a guest here today, and we're delighted to have you here. If you'd like to ask a question, sir.
Thank you. Actually, I was in my office and heard these fine students from Newtown, and as a state senator from Newtown, I want to come and congratulate you for coming up here. Thank you for coming up here. Thank the committee for raising this bill, and hopefully we'll get some action done on it this year. But just your continuing education of all of us is very important. As the parent of 3 kids, the oldest is in high school, the youngest is 10. I marvel at how much more they know about technology than we do, and how the technology with text messaging and emails and chat rooms and the ability to be anonymous in doing it has really made kids more vulnerable to cyberbullying. So your willingness to come forward today and speak about all these issues is great, and I think the rest of the committee and people watching on TV know why Representative Liddy and Representative Hovey and I are so proud to represent Newtown, because you've done a great job today. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate your kind remarks. Anyone else have any questions? Thank you very much. You can now chalk this up to another educational experience that you survived. We really do appreciate your sharing your time with us.